At precisely 2:15 a.m., under a moonless sky, a massive Russian convoy crept across a steel bridge spanning the Nytro River. The column stretched for over 5 miles, a crawling chain of more than 500 vehicles carrying ammunition, fuel, and command gear lifelines for 2,000 troops entrenched on the southern front. Guarding them were Panzer S-1 air defense vehicles loaded with 57 E-6 missiles and 30mm autocannon, while overhead a Nebo-M radar swept the darkness every 3 seconds, scanning for any sign of movement the size of a baseball. The Russians thought they were safe. They were not. Hidden beneath the bridge, clamped to its steel frame, lay 12 silent Ukrainian FPV drones, each one no larger than a toolbox, each armed with a PG-7 VL-shaped charge warhead capable of penetrating 12 inches of reinforced concrete. Cost per drone, about $600. These weren't ordinary drones. They required no GPS, no radio links, no human pilot. They navigated using onboard LiDAR mapping and internal structure recognition. For 72 hours, they had waited motionless, powered down, undetectable, waiting for the signal. Then, by chance, it came a mechanical failure. A few worn-out Russian truck tires burst simultaneously, grinding the entire convoy to a halt. 500 vehicles, jammed tight, completely exposed right inside the kill zone. Inside a small Ukrainian command post several miles away, a single operator pressed a key. One encrypted signal was sent. 12 green lights blinked to life beneath the bridge. The drones detached from their magnetic clamps and dropped into the shadows before their brushless motors spun up with a rising whine that blended perfectly with the noise of idling engines above. Flying low and tight, they hugged the concrete supports, invisible to radar or thermal scopes. Each drone's warhead armed automatically, primed to detonate 1.1 seconds after impact. 6 drones turned toward the ammunition trucks. 4 veered toward the fuel tankers. The last 2 locked on the command vehicles at the front of the convoy. Above, a Russian lieutenant sitting inside a Panzer S-1 command cabin noticed faint electronic interference on his console. He switched his radar from passive to active mode. The system instantly acquired a heat signature beneath the bridge and launched a 57 E-6 missile. But it was a trap. The missile hit a Ukrainian decoy drone programmed to lure the first shot. The explosion tore through the night, lighting up the river valley. Instantly, the entire convoy froze, engines stalling, tires screeching, horns blaring in panic. Within seconds, the bridge became a 5-mile traffic jam of chaos. That single blast did more than illuminate the night. It told every Russian soldier the nightmare was real. Radio chatter erupted. Commands overlapped. Tor-M, 2 air defense crews scrambled to lock targets, but couldn't the bridge's steel beams bounce radar waves everywhere? The drones vanished under the structure, again, unseen. Their onboard AI registered the battlefield change and switched into evasion mode. One drone deployed its X-band jammer, flooding enemy radars with static. 40 miles north, an A-50 early warning aircraft detected erratic heat signatures and transmitted updated targeting data back to ground forces. The Panzer's radar cleared briefly and locked onto Drone 9, sending another missile roaring toward it at 1,850 miles per hour. But Drone 9 was ready. It released a fiber-optic decoy trailing a 100-foot reflective cable that mimicked a much larger radar signature. The Russian missile diverted sharply and exploded mid-air, vaporizing the decoy. The real drone survived and continued its approach. The flash from that blast lit the entire riverbank. For a few moments, everything went silent. Then came the final command. From his hidden control room, the Ukrainian operator hit execute. 11 surviving drones roared back to life, this time no longer hiding. They climbed together, accelerating through the smoke and closing the last 200 yards in under 6 seconds. The kill phase had begun. Drone 1 reached the underside of the bridge directly beneath a truck loaded with 120mm mortar shells and 122mm artillery rounds. Its warhead detonated with a delay, cutting through the concrete like a blade through flesh. The shape's charge released over 4,000 pounds per square inches of pressure, channeling the explosion sideways into the bridge's main support. The blast reflected off the river, amplifying the shockwave. Rebar snapped like glass. The bridge shuddered. 7 more drones hit within 1.3 seconds, 2 struck ammunition trucks, 3 detonated under fuel tankers, and 2 slammed into a mobile command post. Each blast was precisely timed to overlap the others, amplifying structural failure. Fireballs erupted, one reaching 70 feet high. The final 4 drones struck the bridge's main columns, detonating sequentially. The combined shock fractured the entire southern span. At 3:47 a.m., the bridge gave way. Steel twisted, concrete split. 40 Russian vehicles dropped straight into the inferno below. The first to fall, a Ural truck loaded with mortar rounds plunged nose first into the initial blast crater, setting off a chain reaction. 2 more ammunition trucks exploded, igniting crates of 152mm shells stacked nearby. Temperatures soared past 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Shockwaves shattered windows miles away. Fuel tankers ruptured, flooding the bridge deck with burning JP-8 jet fuel. A wall of fire rolled northward, consuming everything. A Kamaz refueler detonated, scattering flaming debris into the river. A Pantsir launcher tried to reverse but was trapped by wreckage. Its autocannon opened fire blindly through smoke 2 seconds before a nearby ammunition truck exploded beside it, erasing it completely. By 3:48 a.m., half the bridge was gone. Flames towered 80 feet into the sky. Black smoke engulfed the convoy. Infrared optics failed. Radio communications collapsed. Satellite imagery hours later revealed a half-mile scar of burning wreckage on both sides of the river. Seismic instruments 3.5 miles away recorded tremors equivalent to a magnitude 2.6 earthquake. The destruction wasn't just visual, it was strategic. That convoy carried over 2 million pounds of ammunition and fuel, the only supply line for a Russian division fighting near Melitopol and Tokmak. Within 72 hours, their artillery positions went silent. Fuel for tanks and transports ran dry. Russia tried to reroute logistics, but the Nytro River bridge was one of just 2 crossings in the region. The next nearest path was a 58-mile detour through contested territory already zeroed in by HIMARS rocket batteries. The alternative route became a death trap. Ukrainian analysts monitoring live telemetry confirmed success. Out of 11 attack drones, 9 hit their targets directly. 2 were lost, 1 jammed, 1 destroyed, but the operation achieved its purpose. The math was staggering. Less than $1,000 in drone hardware had inflicted over $300 million in losses and destroyed an entire division's supply artery. By dawn, the Nytro River Bridge no longer existed. Satellite images taken at 6 a.m. showed a 400-foot gap where the southern span once stood. Russian emergency units struggled to contain the inferno as Ukrainian surveillance drones circled overhead, capturing every frame. The aftermath rippled through the front lines. Artillery near Tokmak fell silent, mechanized units stalled. Without fuel, they abandoned vehicles. Without ammunition, they retreated. Within 3 days, Ukrainian brigades counterattacked east of Orikhiv and south of Robotyne, reclaiming territory. The Russians had no logistics left to resist. The entire operation, now known as the Nitro Bridge Strike, became a landmark study in 21st century warfare. No tanks, no jets, no artillery, just AI-guided drones, timing, and terrain mastery. It wasn't brute force that won. It was computation. The strike redefined the battlefield, proving that in modern war, the most lethal weapon isn't the loudest explosion or the heaviest machine, but the quietest algorithm. The threat no longer comes from above. It waits below, silent, invisible, and patient. So here's the question. If you had $10,000 and one night, what kind of trap would you build to cripple an army 1,000 times stronger? Share your thoughts in the comments below.